Hello and welcome to the preview show from RamsTV. Can you believe Derby County only have 5 more home games this season? It's still all to play for the Rams, who host Fleetwood Town this afternoon for the very first time here at Pride Park Stadium. And as we go into the League One run-in, let's check on the table. Well, Sheffield Wednesday have a 4-point lead at the top. They're now 23 league games unbeaten after their draw with Bolton last night. Plymouth are second, Ipswich third, Barnsley in fourth, have games in hand. Derby start the day 10 points off the top 2 and 4 clear of 7th place Wycombe. Fleetwood start the day 16th, though they could break into the top half if results go their way. Not bad considering they were in the relegation scrap just 6 weeks or so ago. Time starting to run out for Forest Green, 12 points adrift at the bottom of the table. Cambridge also have a lot of work to do. And still quite a bit of work for Derby to do if they're to secure their League One playoff place. Last weekend's win at Oxford certainly helped with that. Tony Springett, on loan from Norwich, finally made his first start for the club.
Well, I mean, first of all, obviously, I'm very happy to get my first start. You know, I've been here since January now. And I feel like that's kind of what I was working towards. And my opportunity finally came, obviously, against Oxford. And my thoughts on the game is I'm really happy. I think it was one of them games where the pitch was bad. The opposition just wanted to kind of run about, and we had to do the same. It was either match them or do better to get a good result. And if we didn't match them, then the result could have gone the other way. And I feel like just the togetherness of the team overall on the night was just so much better. We outworked them, we dug deep, and as you can see by the result, it was a good weekend.
What was the brief from the manager? What was he asking you to do?
I think it was kind of like an overlap from Plymouth, how we didn't really stay in the game for as long as we should have. Kind of went ahead, and then when it came to the second half, we was not at our best. And I think his main message was kind of, if you're going to go out there, make sure you leave everything out there. And before the game, we had to write like a name on a bit of paper on who was doing it for. So it's kind of like just sending a message of, when you go out there, think of that person, and the way you perform determines like the energy that you want to give off to the person, if you want to make them proud or not. So I think that kind of just drove everyone to do their best.
Who did you write down, if you don't mind me asking?
I wrote my mum and my dad, because I couldn't really leave one of them out, you know.
Were they there? Did they get to the game?
They didn't, unfortunately. It's kind of hard for them to get to games because obviously they work. And it's quite a long journey, but I always know that they're watching from afar. So,
and are they sort of the first people you speak to after a game, or?
Yeah, 100%. Like as soon as the game's done, I'll go like to my phone and I already see like 100 messages from my mum, and it will either be really good, or I'll get a message from my dad, and it'll be a straight up message like telling me how I actually performed. So, and then after that, it's obviously my partner, because if I don't message that one, you know how it goes.
Absolutely. I don't know if you heard the manager's description of you after the game. Full fat can of Coke. Yeah. What do you make of that description?
Well, I mean, to be fair, I've never heard anyone like give an analogy like that, but I don't know. I think it's actually quite a nice thing to say, you know. Plus, I don't mind a can of Coke myself, obviously when I'm allowed, you know. Obviously. But no, to be fair, made me chuckle a bit. But yeah, I appreciate it.
As you said, you've been building towards this start. How has that been for you? I think 11 games you've been on the bench, and you've come on in most of those. Was there any frustration at all, or any wondering about when am I going to get my opportunity? What's it going to take for it?
I mean, yeah, there's always that sense of frustration when you're not starting. But to go from what my situation was to what I came to here, I couldn't really complain. Plus, it's not like Warne wasn't completely honest with me when I first came. I knew what I was getting myself into, so it would be quite selfish of me to be frustrated. But yeah, of course I was a little bit frustrated, but my opportunity came, and I'd like to think that I took it.
Looking ahead to this weekend, back at Pride Park, obviously you'll be hoping to start there for the first time, won't you?
Yeah, I hope so. But at the same time, Gaffer has his thoughts. He has the team he thinks would be best to play this weekend. So whatever he goes for, hoping that it's going to be me, of course, because I feel like I did enough for my first start. But yeah, just we'll have to see what happens.
Great to catch up with Tony. We'll find out later whether he has kept his place in the side to face Fleetwood today. Well, Fleetwood are visiting Pride Park for the first time this afternoon. They're having a decent season so far, but this will be an occasion for them coming to Pride Park for the first time. But as assistant manager Stephen Whittaker has been telling us, they have done well at the other big clubs this season.
Yeah, obviously, if you look at the top end of the league, there's some big clubs in there, and to be fair to the boys, when we've gone to these stadiums, we've actually performed well and picked points up on our way. So, Derby should hold no fears. We know that we're capable of putting on a performance that hopefully can bring some points home.
Why do you think that is, that you've gone to some of the bigger clubs, bigger grounds and perform well? What do you think it gets out of your players? Maybe
they just get a lift from the challenge. Motivation's massive. So if they're motivated by, playing against maybe a better calibre player, bigger stadium, bigger crowd, then, that's great for us that they can stand up in that situation. So, like I say, they've done that on many occasions. We went to Plymouth, Ipswich away and picked up points. So, I think we won it like Peterborough and places that spring to mind. So we've done well, and hopefully that can continue Saturday.
It must be, in a way, a little bit bittersweet, because you can do it against some of the better teams. It's just that kind of level of consistency, isn't it, I suppose?
Of course, yeah. That's the aim, is to be consistent across the season, and that'll push you. It'll push you up the league. So we know we've maybe been sloppy here and there, which has cost us. But every team will have patches through this long season. So it's about trying to minimise their games and stay on top of the players. And if you are in a rough patch, then it's about responding. And I feel like our boys have given us 100% across all matches, and it shows that every game we've been in, and they're a great group to work with.
Jack Marriott said to us after the game of the weekend that he's hoping that this kind of gives him a bit of a kick-start now, going into this final few games of the season, that point to come to the result against Port Vale. Is that what you're hoping for now?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Jack and Jayden, when they came in, they hadn't played a lot of minutes, a lot of football, so it's hard for them to hit the ground running. They have to get up to speed, they have to do training days, and with the schedule there wasn't a lot of training days that we could get the group together and do a lot of football, because of the schedule was so hectic. So it's been hard for them to get up to speed quicker. We've tried our best with obviously individual stuff, but it's not quite the same as training with the team and getting out there and playing football. So that'll settle down now. We've got a good session into them this morning, but it's great to see Jack get his goal. His last couple of performances have been good, and he's in a good place, and hopefully that goal, like you says, will kick him on a little bit.
Well, Derby will hope to keep Jack Marriott quiet today. His goal against Port Vale last weekend was his first in the league since August. Well, Fleetwood could climb into the top half today, which would be some achievement given they were just 2 points above the relegation zone 6 weeks ago. They won 4 out of 6 in February, enough to earn Scott Brown a nomination for Manager of the Month. They never climbed higher than 17th in all of last season, only stayed up on the final day. It's looking like Fleetwood will avoid that sort of scare this time around. Meanwhile, here at Pride Park, Derby looking to make it 13 unbeaten in the league at home. Here's the boss, Paul Warne.
Yeah, good. Had a couple of days away and getting ready for the last sprint, so to speak. So yeah, good. Watched some games. Went to, all the staff have been out watching games as well. So I went to Burton this week. So yeah, it gives us a bit more time to prepare for this weekend's game and got everything in place for the meeting for the lads today. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Just on watching other teams, or I guess following other teams' results, because we often hear from managers that they don't look at the table and they're not interested in what's happening elsewhere. But from conversations we have with you, you're the opposite, aren't you?
That's completely untrue. That's an absolute lie. No manager looks at the league. No, that's not true. No, I watch everything, or try to follow everything. And when there's Tuesday night games and teams who are 7th, 8th, 9th, or whatever they're playing, I've got the kit of the other team on with the scarf around my head, cheering the opposition on all times. And you're constantly doing that. You're constantly trying to look after your own team, your own mentality of your group, obviously. And then to be successful depends, because you just don't, you're not the only team that plays everyone. Everyone plays everyone. Everyone has an effect on the outcome of your season, and every result matters, and every result has an impact one way or the other. And it might even be that you go and watch a team, or you're playing against a team in 2 weeks' time. But they get a sending off, or they get a bad result and then another bad result, and you're thinking, oh, this is a good time to play him. So I don't believe there's any manager out there that doesn't look at the league. I mean, I appreciate it's the classic, and it is a classic answer, but there is some truth in it where you go, look, it's just the next game. That is true. You do worry about the next game. I'm not worried about what's next Saturday yet, because there's enough to worry about this Saturday. But I don't believe there's a manager out there that doesn't look at the league. That seems unreal.
Let me ask you about your full-fat can of Coke, Tony Springett. Had to wait a while for his opportunity. Can you just talk to me a little bit about his attitude and I guess his professionalism in how he's been for you since he came in?
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, you don't expect me to say anything but positive. It would be a bad interview if I went, what an absolute lorry driver he is. No, brilliant. His attitude's been spot on, and unfortunately, that is how football is. I have a son who plays sport. Say it to him all the time. Look, sometimes it isn't because there's anything you're doing wrong. It's just the fact that people ahead of you are doing things right. And we do, we have got very good wingers here. Dobbs is very good. Tom Barkhausen is very good. Nat's very good. And out of the four, he has had the least amount of minutes. I know that, obviously. He's also the least experienced. But like when I took him off the other day, I remember shaking his hand saying, oh, did you enjoy that, mate? I loved it, Gaffer. Like, they're the people you want to play, but they can only play if they perform. It's not, like I said, it's not charity. And he deserves his game Saturday. Like this Saturday is a completely different opposition, a completely different game. And I have to look at the team, and pick the team, on who we think's going to beat Fleetwood.
I should probably ask you about Fleetwood. Not on a great run right now, but they've put together some very good runs this season.
Yeah, well, we're not on a great one now either, are we? So in fairness to them, I think in the last 6 games, we've only accrued 2 more points than them. And I wouldn't say we're on a honking run, but I wouldn't say we're on a great run either. So yeah, sometimes games go like that. Sometimes your performances are really good, you don't pick up results. I'm not saying their performances have been amazing, but like I played against Scott's team pre-season. We were in the same Croatia training camp. Really liked him, liked his staff. They're really professional what they've done. They're recruited really well. Every game in this league is tough. It's tough to create proper goal scoring chances, and it's tough to take them. Like last week, we were fortunate with one of our goals, so to speak. But then Sibbs' 2 goals were out of this world. And you're relying on magical moments to win games. So hopefully we have enough on Saturday to win.
There is the Derby boss, Paul Warne. There was one match in League One last night. Sheffield Wednesday held at home by Bolton. Everyone else in action today. Lincoln against Peterborough is a 1 o'clock start. Later, Plymouth host Forest Green, Ipswich face Shrewsbury, and Barnsley go to Wycombe. And here at Pride Park, Derby County welcome Fleetwood Town for the very first time. It's a game that you can watch if you're an overseas viewer on RamsTV. Get your Game Pass now at dcfc.co.uk. We'll have former Derby captain Michael Johnson alongside for the broadcast in Matchday Live from 2:30. Goodbye.